Hello, my name is Javier Santoyo, and this is my project for this class. And I'm going to be talking about avant garde cinema. To most people, documentary films is just about documenting of facts or events or like a specific subject matter. But to me, documentaries at its most purest form is capturing the act of seeing, how light reflects off the camera, or even just the shadows and how we perceive all these things. And I think avant-garde films are the most purest form of filmmaking. So naturally, I believe they are connected. I think cinema can be made out to be anything if you believe hard enough. Cinema has always been about construction and reconstruction. We build new images to represent the images we've already seen in our own lives, and we create characters to imitate the real people. Even in documentaries, we're still presenting reality in a way that feels constructed. The camera, the edit, the interviews, everything shapes the truth. And honestly, I don't think a film can ever be fully truthful. It's always filtered through the filmmaker. What he decides to show, what they cut out, the moments they emphasize, or the moments they avoid. Avant garde cinema, however, approaches this form in the opposite direction. Instead of constructing a new reality out of this world, instead they use our world to create emotions. It documents perception instead of documenting facts. Not every documentary is avant garde. But I do think every avant-garde film is documentary in the way it's absorbing, recording, and presenting the real world. One of the biggest contrasts when making a film is whether you're constructing or deconstructing. On the left here, you see a frame from the project The Act of Killing, a documentary built around performances, reenactments, and the construction of meaning. On the right, however, we have a film called Brillard 14, a film that documents nothing but fog, pure observation, no narrative. I think it's interesting how both of these films are considered movies, yet one of them is considered a documentary, even though it's constructing these things and presenting them as reality, while the other film just shows us the things that we see in our world. I feel like I can't talk about any of this without mentioning Stan Brakhage, not just because he means a lot to me, but also because he works towards what I'm trying to argue. Brakhage films feel like a meditation on the act of seeing, in a literal sense. He explores light, movement, and the textures of perception. He's documenting the world, but not the literal surface of it. He's documenting the experience of looking, which is, I think, something most people take for granted. The background image here is from The Art of Vision, which is his deconstruction of Dog Star Man, another project of his. He layered multiple reels and sections of the film on top of each other, creating this dense, overwhelming exploration of what vision actually is. Brakhage made so many films after this, but this feels like his magnum opus, the ultimate statement that the same images can hold infinite meanings depending on how we see them. He didn't document events in a traditional sense, he documented perception itself. Gregory McCarplus might be the most ahead of his time filmmaker ever. He created an entirely new dialect of cinema, one that I feel like completely challenges everybody's perspective of how they look at films. I feel like a lot of people only like the films they understand, and then I think that mindset can really limit you. Life doesn't make any sense, our emotions don't make sense, so why should cinema always have to? Markopoulos really focused on editing and the power of individual frames, and how music interacts with image. He's building a new cinematic language around feeling rather than comprehension. And when he stripped his films down to their raw content, they're documenting the world, bodies, landscapes, gestures, textures, but he transforms those fragments into emotional experiences instead of narrative explanations. That's why he feels so essential to me. He shows how cinema can document reality through emotion, not just through information. Alright, that's enough babbling. I feel like I can only theorize these ideas so much, so I thought I could actually just show you one of Stan Brakhage's projects. After all, I feel like this medium in particular is all about seeing, so I feel like me just talking here goes against everything. So I hope you enjoy this film of his. It's only 30 seconds, so I thought it could fit in the actual presentation. So here I am presenting Stan Brakhage's RageNet from 1988. We think of slideshows as the opposite of cinema. Still, static, frozen, whatever you want to label it as. But a slideshow might be one of the purest cinematic experiences we have. A slideshow is a collision of images. It's montage, essence sign without motion, maker without travel. And when you see the slideshows transition from one to the other, can that not be considered moving images? The slideshow is the cinema because the cinema can be anything you want it to be. This project isn't just a presentation, it's me documenting how I feel about the medium. If avant-garde cinema is documentary, then a slideshow is cinema. Not just because the images are moving, but because I move through them. The cinema was never the camera, the cinema was the cut, the juxtaposition, the feeling that happens between images. And in that sense, this slideshow is more cinematic than anything non-fiction or fiction could ever claim to be. Thank you.